again. Here's yet another lesson for this week's coronavirus disaster. I want to make sure that we try and go in order just because who knows when you get back, this is probably the order we're going to go through things in. So, we're going to talk a little bit today about line graphs. Line graphs are a little different than circle graphs. You know, line, circle, a little bit different. Line graphs look like this. Circle graphs don't. A line graph is shown like that, and we're going to use this to fill out a chart. So with circle graphs, there really isn't a chart involved. With a line graph, sometimes, most of the time, there will be some sort of a graph involved and some sort of a chart involved. So we're going to look at mall shoppers, and you're going to notice that there are both axes going to be shown with exactly what they portray. So on my x-axis, I'm looking at days of the week, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or how many days we actually shopped. Number of shoppers are going on the y-axis, okay? So here's how this would look. If I look at day 1, and remember guys, this is just a graph. It's not necessarily a coordinate plane. So I'm not starting at 0. I'm starting at 1. So you've got to remember, you don't necessarily have to start at 0. We could have, but you know, number of shoppers, 0, days, 0, wouldn't really have made sense. So when I look at my first day, I'm going to circle where that is. That's at 300. Here's my second day. Here's my third day, my fourth day, and my fifth day. I have to go across to my y-axis to get the number of shoppers on day 5. Pretty simple, not too hard. Maybe a little easier than circle graphs. Is the graph increasing or decreasing? There's one day that it increased, but the graph itself is decreasing. And I hope that makes sense to you, because I'm moving on. If you need to, pause, back up, look at that again. We're going to put this data into the graph. So now instead of having an already graphed, now I'm going to give you info and you're going to graph it. So you're going to take points first, and then you're going to connect the dots just like you did when you were 5 years old. So height of the plant day 1 was 2 inches. There's day 1, 2 inches. Day 2, 2.5. Day 3, 3, etc., etc. You'll notice that day 4 and 5 are both the same, so the line is actually horizontal. It happens. Some days we just don't grow. So, is the graph increasing or decreasing? The graph is increasing. Even though one day it didn't increase, as a whole, the graph is increasing. Here are some questions to ask about that graph. What day did the plant not grow? Well, we just talked about that. That would be day 5. Now look at this again. Oops, sorry, wrong direction. We say day 5 because on day 4, it's 3 to 4. This right here is from day 4 to 5. So the day it didn't grow was that 5th day, not the 4th day. Okay, hope that makes sense to you. Next question, what is the plant's maximum height? I look for the highest point, and that's the maximum height. What is the range of the height of this plant? Remember when we talk range, we go highest to lowest. So if I do 6 inches minus 2 inches, I get 4 inches. Last question, which day had the most growth? When I look at the most growth, I'm looking for the longest line. So when I talk about which day, it's from day 3 to 4, which is day 4. Think about that as a birthday. When you're 1 year old, that's your first birthday, you've been alive for a year. Okay? That means when you pop out, you're 0. Okay? So that would be the first birthday, the second birthday, the third birthday, the fourth birthday. When it talks about your growth spurt, it's from 3rd to 4th. So when the question asks, which day had the most growth, the growth for you would be that day of 4, or your birthday through your 4th year. Hope that makes sense. The manager at a sports store kept track of the number of four-wheelers sold. Use this chart to put the data on the graph. Again, first day 24, second day 16, third day 27, fourth day 22, last day 19. Remember, this is still a point. It just happened to go in a straight line. You can't forget that point because it actually is there. When you look at the questions, what month had the most sales? We look at the most. We know that would be the third month. Then we look at what month were the sales low. The sales were the lowest the second month. The last question says how many total four-wheelers were sold. And this is where we might make a mistake. You gotta add all 5 because day 4 still exists. You can put a line under here and a plus sign, and that might even make it easier for you. All right, there you have line graphs.